I'm Christian Lamichka for Country Music News International, and today we present you Natasha Borzilova. Natasha, welcome to Country Music News International.
Thank you for having me.
Most people will know you from a Russian band, and now you're starting your own career. You released, probably it's your second or
This is my third.
your third
Yes.
solo album. Folks, that you have an idea about what we're talking, that's the album. 11 songs on it, and it's a really personal album. She wrote probably all of the songs, but there are 3 songs on it which are her personal favorites. And I believe you like to talk about these 3 songs. Oh yeah, sorry.
Let's make sure that we are talking about the same three favorite songs. Which ones do you think are my favorites?
The one about your daddy, about your sister, not your sister, your daughter, and your grandma.
They're just the most, yes, they are the most personal ones. The one about my dad was written about actually the moment of his death and how it impacted me. He passed away 20 years ago, and I was in my early teens. My dad was a scientist, and he worked on the cleanup of the Chernobyl disaster, and as a result of that passed away at a fairly young age and very unexpectedly, and I happened to be home when that happened. So I witnessed the whole thing, and it was a complete shock to me because I did not obviously think about anything like that at that time of my life. And so the song is called 1 Second Flat, and it's about the moment of before and after, that moment when you realize that some huge changes have happened in your life and you basically grow up in a second. Yeah, so you want me to keep talking about the songs?
Of course.
The one about my daughter is called Tiny Little Things, and again, it is about a transformation from a fairly unburned an adult that wasn't very burdened by responsibility, into a surprisingly structured parent, and just how life changes when you have children, and their tiny problems become these giant, things that you have to take care of because they are so important to you. And it took me a very long time to complete the song because I found out that it was really difficult to steer away from cheesiness and trying to be cute because you're writing about your child, or trying to be overly dramatic again because you're talking about something that's very important. So I finally found a way to talk about it, and tying my wild years before her to her just in general wild years, because she's just one of these children that never sits still. So and then the one about my grandmother is also a very personal story. It's based on a conversation I had with her, and she told me that the process of aging was a very tricky one because she did not feel like an 80-something-year-old on the inside. She looked like it, and when she looked at herself in the mirror, there was this huge disconnect between what she was seeing and the way she was feeling. She always referred to her friends as girls, and so I said to her, I'm like, Grandma, those are not girls. You guys are old ladies, And she was like, well, do you think I feel like an old lady? I'm still a 25-year-old inside. It's just my body is just totally falling apart. And that just really, at the time I was in my early 20s, and it just really kind of opened my eyes, I guess, at the subject that I didn't really pay a lot of attention to at the time. And so the song that's called Winter Season grew out of it, and basically is, talking about how at the end of your life you're going through that winter period.
Well, but see, that's not new for me, because when you're young you want to be older, when you're older you want to be younger, so that's life. But tell me, you're living now for more than 10 years here in the US, immigrate from the Russian to Nashville, and
What changed in your life since that time?
Well, pretty much everything. I moved here right after, well, the move became permanent right after I graduated from college. And so pretty much my whole adulthood happened here in Nashville. So I left my mom, and she still lives in Russia, and I get to visit her once or twice a year. And you know, my career pretty much all happened here. I met my husband here. I have 2 children now. I have a family in Nashville. Yeah, I also started teaching yoga, so I have a different career now on top of doing music. Well, and of course the solo projects. I have 3 albums, like we mentioned before, and it's just been a really interesting process of growing up, because in the last 6 years since Bering Strait broke up, the band that I was in, pretty much everything changed. You know, the person that I was before had to adapt to the changes that happened in my life, because I played in the band since I was 11 years old. So 18 years of making music with a bunch of people and being kind of confined to a certain genre, since we were in country music and had major record deals, which sometimes can be a little bit restricting because the label kind of dictates what you sound like. At least here in Nashville, a lot of times it does. And once the band broke up, I had relative freedom, and I was very fortunate to have a label like Hadley Music Group, and my publishers. They kind of let me, you know, pretty much do whatever I want with my music, which is wonderful. It's very freeing.
So you have 3 jobs.
Yes, I do.
So how it is to be a mom, and most times outside, or better say, away from the kids? Because I believe you're touring. Somebody told me.
I do tour a lot. I actually spend a lot of time with my children. I'm very fortunate to have the kind of jobs where I don't have to go to work, you know, from 9 to 5. So I teach about 10 classes a week, and I kind of juggle, you know, me and my husband, between the 2 of us and his family. It's a constant pick up the kid, drop off the kid, pick up another kid, drop off, you know. But I also do tour some, and because my son is fairly young, he's just 15 months old, I did very small amount of touring last year. I did a couple of longer trips, and you know, I'm starting to pick up some more booking this year. So I really don't know how how balanced it's going to be from now on, because I am going to try to tour a little bit more. But we do a very good job of balancing out, because my husband is also well, he's a sound engineer, but he's also a musician, and he toured some as well. So he understands that it's, you know, a necessity.
So to have someone from the music business is helpful.
It is helpful, because he has seen, he's got a very good behind the scenes experience, because he actually recorded 2 of my records, and so he's invested in it in that way. He also sings a little bit, and is featured and was on one of the songs on this record, but he also has traveled some with the band, and he knows that what it feels like to be away from home, and he knows that now it's his turn to be to be at home.
So he have sometimes you accept a yes from him.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Natasha. By the way, when the crowds in Germany likes to find out now more information about you, what they have to do?
They can go to my website, NatashaBorzilova.com. They can also find me on Facebook, and I'm also Natasha Borzilova, which is kind of a last name that's, you know, if you remember the last name, you'll find me, because there's not a lot of Borzilovas out there. You can just Google me, and all of that will pop up. And also, if you do purchase the album, it's all of that information is on there.
That's the album again, folks. And again, 11 great songs, and I believe you will love each of the songs. So don't forget to buy the CD and send her a note. How do you like it? Have a good one. Stay with us here on Country Music News International. and talk to you soon. You're Christian Lamechka.
Thank you.